Hi Virgos, thank you for joining me and welcome to your bonus reading. I actually waited till the next day to do it because I was so burnt out last night that I thought it would be better just to wait. I hope you guys don't mind. We had a really good reading last night, right? It's a lot of emotions, a lot of relationships. We have this on the bottom, a King of Pentacles, a Virgo, Taurus, or Capricorn. So powerful energy with regard to who you are. You have a strong position this year. And the beginning part of the year really established that. I don't know about you, but for me, I made several key choices that had repositioned my life in certain directions. And I wouldn't say that I'm sitting pretty, but nobody is. But I think that overall, like, they were for the better. Although I, regret certain things or I wish things were different, it is what it is. I'm very much a utilitarian. So when push comes to shove, it's more about like how things work instead of how I feel about them. Only in extreme situations, like, when you have to deal with something like life-changing or serious. But I thought I would clarify each one for you guys. I'm going to post this for members only and then for everybody later to just clarify. So the general energy looks like there's a lot of new relationships and new love coming into your life. Right now I'm getting from the fact that you should be quite discerning, who you open up to and how. I think that the metaphor that I used for you guys is walking down the aisle, where you need to step on the same step with your father who's walking you down the aisle, because otherwise you'll be out of pace with each other. So I think that the real strong image that's coming through is be careful. Be careful how you lean into things, how you deal with things. We have the Six of Pentacles, okay. So reciprocity, building relationships with other people that have to do with, like, not you scratch my back, I scratch yours, but very much about what each person gives to the other, right? And then the Strength card is the Death card, which is Scorpio. Okay, so you go through a personal strength, and I think there's a more reciprocity of compassion and support that comes to you now. There is more reciprocity and generosity from, from other people onto you. There's this, there's this energy that's you put into something and someone puts into something more, or you put into something and someone else puts into something. That generosity, it's watching each other's back, but more on an emotional level, although in the physical level there's that as well. So it's like a real camaraderie, a real bond together with someone, and that's a change from the way it was before. Look what just jumped out for this energy. This is Venus in Virgo, and you got this as well. So it's like beautiful, wealthy, affluent, just prominent. But also it's reminding me that you're a little alone. You're sitting in your comfort, but you're sort of, for a time being, you are going to be sort of autonomous from other people. And the message that comes through is that you're not supposed to in some way think about that in a vulnerable way. So you can't think like, I'm alone, nobody loves me, or whatever else is going on. You want to think about things in terms of, don't give up on that. Because when you second guess the strong position you have, you make choices out of low vibration. So, you get self-conscious about the fact you're sitting in a good situation for yourself, and you start seeking out inappropriate connections with other people that will invariably take away from your strength. And so you need to, rather than try to change your world, be happy for what you have, find that gratitude there, and wait for the appropriate circumstances to become available for you when you can actually transpose, when it's time. So wait for the right time for the social connections, specifically in romance and in relationships. It's very much like, don't just anxiously move towards relationships with other people, because you have a very strong position and you have enough things to take care of yourself. You have the Emperor on the bottom, so you're like a boss, and you can't don't get wrapped up with lowly people, with lowly intentions. And I don't think of people as lowly based on like what they have and who they are. Look at this. Big decision about home. I'll get to that in a minute. I don't believe in people are lowly in the sense that, they're worse or lesser than other people. But I do believe that people's character is lowly. And I do believe that people can be very tacky and trashy no matter what their station is in life. And I believe that in some cases a person's station does reflect their character, but oftentimes I've known some very, very wealthy or outwardly wealthy people, especially at places like universities that I've gone to for a long time, that were complete degenerates, and they were just there because their families were helpful to them in that way. So it's like, so what I'm saying is that there is a pecking order, but it's not the one we usually focus on. I'm trying to suggest that the pecking order has to do with quality of character. And when you get really good at identifying those things and working within that, I've been learning it for 20 years. It really helps your life and it helps you deal. And it doesn't avoid bad situations, but what it does do is help you deal with them when they do come up, and it helps you choose more appropriate connections with people as you go through life, depending on what's available to you too, your environment. Then we have the 10 of Pentacles here, loyalty and trust. If you remember this part of the reading, it was all about how I think someone in your family, it could be your husband or your partner or something to do with your work, that there's this, it is a dichotomy. It's both. It's good and bad. There's someone around you who's very low vibration. They're either going through something extremely difficult and chronic disease, chronic illness, chronic mental illness, and that's affecting their ability to be positive and constructive, and that's hard on everyone. Or there is this, or there is just like some low vibrational circumstances you can't get away from. And what I was saying in the main reading is that you don't really want to, and because of whatever reasons and that justify it. But this is actually saying that this is pointing to the loyalty, that there's a more fundamental purpose for you to be there. It's not like you're just being codependent. There's a more fundamental energy there. The next message is the Fool. Okay, so this kind of showed up in the background. It's like he's walking away from the 9 of Swords, and what I'm going to do is really looking towards new opportunities that will come to you in the form of friendships and alliances. So what I'm saying is that there will be new friends. You have to wait for these people to come in. Remember, we were seeing like a group of females that were very helpful to you, and you have to wait for those energies to come in for you and to provide you this new beginning. So in time, it's coming, and it's going to lift you up, and it's going to be quite strong in the way of growth and potential and those kinds of things. There's reciprocity there, and there's a good environment around you this year, Virgo. Then we have the Magician, and I'm using the Dreams of Gaia Tarot. And so there's some learning that's going on between you and your family members. There's like, how do you say, people are like learning lessons or learning about the world. Their thoughts and ideas around you are growing and developing. And so the people around you are becoming more comprehensive. The people around you are becoming more insightful. You are growing also, which is amending your conduct and your behavior. And so it's through this acquisition of knowledge and experiences, intelligence, in which you are very much bringing in family members and people around you in ways you have never done before. So family members and you will be on a closer footing. And then we have the Ace of Fire. Yeah, this Queen of Swords is going to open up something for you really big. I have a feeling that there's definitely like a key. I don't know where I put my key. There's a key. There's a transition. Something really, the place you need to be in, she's going to direct you to. So the place that you are supposed to go, She's a very thorough person, and she's a person that you can depend on, you can count on. She's a powerful leader and a strong person. So be excited about her and be excited about your relationship with her. The next message is the 9 of Earth. Okay, so we have 9 of Earth. You have this is the same card over, look, 999. It's the same card over and over again. Let's talk about it a little bit since it's here. The 9 of Earth is about being very strong financially, especially things you have earned. It's that earned financial success. It does talk about being single quite a bit, because you're sort of women who traditionally, okay, women who are very self-sufficient and strong financially, a lot of men won't date them because men like to feel needed, and we live in this system, you know, between men and women, in which women were always dependent upon men. So women who don't fit that category specifically, sorry if you're a guy watching this, but if you don't fit that category, many men can't deal with that because that's a part of their ego construct. So they need a woman who depends on them, right? And so you have this energy of self-sufficiency, but it's also security that allows you to have options in your life about the directions you'll go. So you're selecting which directions you want to go and which are going to be for you productive and which are going to be not productive. 5 of Swords next. We have the 8 of Earth. So Sun in Virgo. So you have a certain knowledge, Virgo. You have, whether it's sun, moon, or rising, you have certain knowledge, and you're making decisions about your life on your own. It's that hermit energy in a big way. Hermit energy isn't just Virgo. It's the act of going down the road of life, you know, progressing down life and learning street lessons, street skills, or road skills, wherever you live. You don't have to live in a city to experience that. And observing your life in great detail, and then drawing from that conclusions on how to conduct yourself. So that wisdom, that visceral experience of what you've learned, you're applying to situations. And I have a feeling like many times people will not understand the decision you're making. So this is just saying you have skills and abilities that allow you to see things from a perspective and deal with circumstances in a unique way that's true to you, because it's based out of the life experiences you've accumulated. And so other people may not understand, but it's saying here that that decision is a successful one. To me, this, you know, usually this card is called defeat, the 5 of Swords, but here to me this looks like a win. You know, while they're lamenting and confused, you know, in the sunset, this person, the masked figure, the Virgo, right, is powerfully standing with all the swords. So whoever you're up against, Virgo, I would say sayonara, or yeah, just bad for them, you know, good for you, because you already have what it takes, and you're not contingent. They're still seeking help from other people, and you already are past that point. And so whatever you've learned, whatever you apply to the situation will help you stand above and far above and afar. The 6 of Pentacles next. The same card is here. These two cards are very important, the Page of Cups and the 6 of Pentacles. So Moon and Taurus, maybe some Virgos will meet Moon and Taurus. It's a wonderful connection. So Moon and Taurus people, I feel like you're experiencing reciprocity with someone. So that means that what they give and you put into it is fair. And so you might find that there's this real balance between you and someone else, and that's drawing you in. I feel like it's a very easy relationship, very easy, like flow into each other's arms without too much conflict, without too many issues. Then we have the 5 of Wands and Mary L. Tarot, the 5 of Pentacles. 5 of Wands, 5 of Pentacles, confronting disequilibrium between yourself and other people. So when people take on too much or push you around or try to push over on you, I think that you will very much confront those issues a lot. And again, I feel like you'll be drawing back in those situations. So you'll be, rather than getting in a fight about it, I think that you're going to rather use your time for constructive means rather than confront whatever circumstances. And that in some way is, so, okay, how do I explain this? I know I have an example, but I don't really want to use it because it's kind of about me. But I feel like, okay, so when a person doesn't have many resources, when they don't have a lot of money and stuff, they tend to confront and fight directly with the people around them. It's because that is the most efficient use of time. So whether they're conscious about it or unconscious, that's a very normal way of dealing things. And in fact, that's the healthiest, not healthiest, but that's the solution that brings about the greatest possibility of success. So when you don't have a lot of resources, you have nothing to lose, you have a tendency to get into other people's faces more, fight over things directly, that kind of thing. But once you have a certain degree of resources that have built up and you have a certain degree of security, whether it's money or, you know, whatever it is, social connections, it doesn't have to be all money. Once you have certain things that protect you in place, it becomes disadvantageous to confront directly. And so when that happens, that's when you pull back. And I notice this in the spirituality community, that people talk about this dynamic and they say, oh, it's better for you to just not confront love and light. That's a very bourgeois concept. It's one of privilege, and people don't understand. When I listen, because I study this kind of stuff, or I did study for many years, and I still do, but not formally, right? And so it's not really, people miss that step, that if you're poor, the problem with poverty is that you have fewer ways of getting through things or getting through problems and situations, in which case that direct confrontation gives you a higher chance of survival. And when we're talking about survival, that's what's important. But in this situation, Virgo, you have found yourself in a more secure position, and so therefore it's saying it's your way of dealing with it modifies. So you know, when they in the spirituality community, they criticize people from being confrontational as a like something beneath them. In fact, that's a pretty privileged opinion. It's entitlement, because they're expressing their privilege, they're expressing their wealth and security by saying that. I don't think they're conscious about it, but that's what that means, and that's why it's a problematic statement. Love and light and those things, because when you are dealing with people who have a lack of privilege for whatever reason, whether it's race, money, you know, gender, all these things, when there's no fine line. It's not like I can tell you this is the cutoff line. It's something that you feel and that you understand about your life. If you're in a certain place of a lack of privilege, then, and it has to be several factors, not just money. It can be money and social connections, or, you know, usually it really boils down to social connections and money. But like if you are in a low circumstance, so when I was working in social work, you would meet a lot of people who had very little options. That's it. It's not how do you say this? It's not what we want to do, is fighting and all that stuff. But also at the same time, I don't know if it's maladaptive to do so. I think that it's just people surviving. And so here in this situation, when you're dealing with disequilibrium between yourself and other people, whether they're trying to compete with you, push you around, fight for resources, you're in that position this year in which that's disadvantageous for you to confront, because it's dragging you down, and there's other things for you to focus on, and you have enough resources to not have to be brought down with it or by it. That's what it's saying. I hope I explained that well. Okay, so, and it's not a matter of opinion. It's an objective. That's an objective statement. I'm not saying what should happen or what the right thing is. In an ideal world, we would have all tons of resources, but it's not an ideal world, and so judging each other for how much we have is not a constructive use of time. Empress next. You have the Four of Pentacles. Okay, so that's, your position is really not changing in terms of security, equity. If anything, you're rising up a little bit. I think your social status is on the increase, very much so, on the rise. And so it's not like you're not making those anxious choices with regard to the world around you. It's very, you hold your space and you hold on to that and you don't jeopardize it. Six of Swords. And also it changes your perspective. You see, you have now the opportunity to see life from a different perspective. And so from a position of distance, you're able to, in some way, separate yourself and find other avenues to get away from circumstances. And that's an expression of your privilege this year. And I mean that in a positive way. So this year you have more privilege, and therefore you have more options and opportunities. And this is where gratitude comes in, because you want to really recognize your privilege and not waste it. What's worse than, kind of not recognizing your privilege is wasting it, because when you have it, it's resources, so you should use them to make your life better and still be a kind person, but just use your resources well, and don't be, guilt tripping yourself or something like that. The Ace of Cups next. We have the Hermit, a new relationship with a Virgo possibly. Or maybe on your own journey, you find someone with whom you connect with, or maybe somebody is offering the cup to Virgo, a new beginning. But be careful with this new beginning idea. New beginning, old beginning. I feel like you're better with people. Well, there's someone who you meet who's new, who's charming and kind. But there's also this there's going to be temptations to drop everything and go a different direction. And I have a feeling that there's better use of time for you with regard to that. So stick to your guns. You will modify some things, but not fundamentally. You will change things about your life, but the crux of what you're doing, your job or where you live or something like that, is going to be very firm. But some of those things, some of you will keep your job and move. Some of you will move and will stay and keep your job. It's all different, but the temptation, wherever the pressure is, the temptation to just switch to a new direction is the Fool that's saying, don't do that. Don't switch. If your job is pressure filled, but you're being super successful, you might have the predisposition to want to leave, but this is saying that that's the unhealthy path, okay? And then we have the Seven of Pentacles, long-term solutions. Yeah, so it's there's the mid to long-term in your situation is abundant, and so you need to keep abreast of that. I got over 20 minutes already, okay. And then we have the Seven of Cups here, the Venus in Scorpio. There's Scorpio, the Death card. So there's going to be an abrupt shift in terms of vision this year. So your perspective is going to change. You're going to get very clear insight about circumstances and situations that you are a part of. Eight of Swords next with the Princess of Cups. That's the same energy. Somebody's going to come into your life and offer you new solutions. Somebody is on an emotional level, a friend, an ally, just a close connection. Somebody is going to come into your life and offer new solutions, and yeah, they're just giving you abundance and breakthrough energy. This is the way to go. Or maybe you yourself turn over a leaf with regard to how you feel. Maybe you feel differently or think about the world in a different way, and that is permissive of new outcomes and new possibilities. The King of Cups is next with the Ace of Swords. I have a feeling that someone from the past is going to contact you, or someone who you meet will contact you. And remember, this was the energy of the secret admirer. So this person could be a friend, but they have deeper feelings. There could be more to it than what you know. And there will be some kind of communication. And I think at the end you will, there will be a prolonged period of time in which you don't know that this situation is unfolding, and then there will be like an unveiling, like the Wizard of Oz, and there will be a time in which you're trying to figure out, I think, love between two different people. I think you'll be choosing between a new love with whom you're smitten by, very kind of drawn to romantic feeling, and then there's going to be a love in which you're greatly admired by someone, and someone has a deep sense of purpose for you or with you. Then you have the Ten of Cups, reunion and happiness. There's going to be a lot of people reaching out to reconnect with you. There will be a lot of people trying to kind of, I got the message, reel you in, but bring you back in. Six of Cups, which is the lust card. Very, very very, very quick resolution. Once you know, you'll know, and your heart will lead the way towards reconnection, passion. It's especially in the latter part of the year, I would say September on, or even August on, there's this abundance of love flowing into your life, and in the spring and summer, I think it's building, and then it'll be like a waterfall of love. So first you make some changes, you confront some tough stuff, you reposition yourself with regard to other people, and then there will be a flood of love coming into your life in a romantic relationship. And some of it will be like, who do I love now? Let's clarify each line and then I'll go. So we have the Knight of Cups here in the first one, Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio. So somebody's offering love, someone's bringing something into your life. This is also you, Virgo, following your emotions. The Page of Cups, following emotions, moving forward, being generous, just doing those things in the beginning of the year. Then we have the second line here, and we have the Youth. So these cards are different than tarot cards. And so you have the Youth. So this is the youth. You fall in, I told you, someone who's younger than you. It's like there's this, whether they're younger than you or energetically younger than you, you feel a great deal of draw towards them. There's this real like, just romance and simpleness. It's like you just like them a lot, and the way they talk gels, the way they think gels. There's not much. They're just a sweet person you are drawn to by their character. Okay, so next line, number 3, and then we have the King of Swords, Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra. Let's see here. So this is reason, big lessons. Look to a King of Swords in your life for big lessons. About how to deal with all this. And just to summarize, you have a strong position and you're changing your perspective about things, namely how you interact with other people, and things that caught you up emotionally are no longer catching you up, and you're tempted to flip the switch, go a different direction on some things, and this is saying hold steady. The lessons have to proliferate and kind of grow out. And then we have the last line, and that's the Emperor, which is the card on the bottom of the main deck. So this is the energy of Aries, family. Maybe you don't have that good of energy here this is the Emperor position, so maybe you don't have like such a good energy in that position because you are the Emperor, and so it's lonely at the top. So you are the one who is calling the shots on things. And so when you're the authority, you don't necessarily have an authority to look to except God, if you believe that way. But I think that also maybe somebody comes to terms with their feelings towards you, and definitely there's going to be some really big family or very big romantic end to your year. It's going to be someone who's going to be very heavily, and I usually with Virgo there's always kind of like a but this is going to happen, and I was expecting it, but like anticipating it, because it always happens, and I just don't even trust the readings anymore. But I have a feeling that somebody's feelings towards you are becoming clarified. And I think that you're seeing things from a new perspective, or they're seeing things about you from a new perspective, or some barriers are being removed, and then you're being flooded with love. So I hope you enjoy this. Members, thank you for supporting me and the channel. Sorry it took like 12 hours to film. But there we go. I hope you have a wonderful year, and go on, my emperors, and rule your world. I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.